Welcome back, nostalgia fans. Here's 20 wild facts about Home Alone that'll make you say, "Keep the change, you filthy animal." It's officially December now, the most wonderful, magical time of the year. So naturally, we're going to kick things off by revisiting the greatest 1990s Christmas movie ever made, and in my opinion, the best Christmas movie of all time. That's right, we're talking about Home Alone. Back in 1990, Home Alone turned an 8-year-old's holiday nightmare into the third highest grossing film in history. Macaulay Culkin became a household name overnight. Joe Pesci invented an entire new language of kid-friendly swear words, and a whole generation grew up eyeballing their basements like potential war zones. Directed by Chris Columbus and written by John Hughes, Home Alone wasn't just a movie. It was a cultural phenomenon that made us all wonder if we could survive a home invasion armed with nothing but household items and pure chaotic energy. So today, we're counting down 20 weird, wild, and wonderful facts about Home Alone. Because every single item on our list will show you that the lore behind Kevin McAllister's booby-trap laden comedy was deeper than you first thought. Before we do dive into that, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Let's get into the countdown with number 20, the booby traps being quite brutal, even for the stuntmen.
For them all over the place.
What pain. Oh. It seems simple enough trying to get in here in the beginning. We say, let's try the door.
And they get beat up. Bad.
We all laughed watching Harry and Marv get pummeled by paint cans, irons, and icy stares. But here's something that might make you wince. Filming those gags was both very real and absolutely terrifying for everyone involved. Director Chris Columbus admitted that watching the stunt crew perform those big falls made his heart stop basically every time. Columbus said, "Every time they did one of those stunts, it wasn't funny. I would just pray the guys were alive afterward." And honestly, I can see where Columbus is coming from. One stuntman had to fall flat on his back on icy concrete stairs 8 times to nail Marv's slip. Another took a full-speed paint can to the head, rigged for safety, sure, but still a paint can to the head, and flipped onto his back. Columbus ensured that safety precautions were in place, but says that watching it live still made him cringe in concern. Looking back at it, the irony is actually quite beautiful. We're sitting on our couches laughing at Harry and Marv's pain while eating popcorn. Meanwhile, the stunt professionals performing those falls were painfully and carefully choreographed professionals who thankfully survived with no serious injuries. Number 19, there was a deleted cameo for the Wet Bandits. The original Home Alone script included one more scene that would have been absolute gold: Harry and Marv behind bars. In a planned mid-credit stinger, we'd see the Wet Bandits in prison on Christmas Day, watching TV in the jail's rec room. And what would be playing on the screen? Angels with Filthy Souls, of course. Picture it. The crooks realized, to their complete dismay, that they were outwitted by an 8-year-old armed with a VCR. Johnny's "Merry Christmas, you filthy animal" would have been the perfect final taunt for them. Ultimately, the filmmakers cut this scene, opting to end on the warm family reunion instead. And it's hard to blame them. The emotional payoff of Kevin hugging his mom probably tested better than watching criminals get roasted one last time. Number 18, Home Alone could have looked much different if it weren't for Chevy Chase.
Sweetheart, your grandma Nora's got a real painful burr on my heel, and if you rub it for me, I'll give you a whole quarter. Okay?
A quarter.
And I'll give Audrey a quarter too, Audrey.
I'm gonna put my car in the garage.
My car.
No, I'm not going to
I'll park the car. I'll park my car.
This is what Christmas is all about. I'll park the cars and check the luggage, and I'll be outside for the season.
So this one has to do with a little bit of Hollywood destiny that almost didn't happen. Before directing Home Alone, Chris Columbus was set to direct National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, written by John Hughes. He quit that job after clashing with Chevy Chase. But Hughes still liked Columbus, so he handed him the Home Alone script instead. In a way, if Columbus had not walked away from Christmas Vacation, we might have never gotten Home Alone as we now know it. Columbus has joked before that dealing with Chevy Chase prepared him for working with the 10-year-old Macaulay, which is either a compliment to Macaulay or a devastating burn on Chevy. Maybe both. So, in a strange twist of fate, what began as a lost chance with one Christmas classic became the launchpad for another. In other words, if Columbus hadn't said no to Vacation, we might have never gotten the McAllister fiasco we all know and love. Number 17. Kevin's iconic scream was actually an accident.
I took a shower washing every body part with actual soap, including all my major crevices, including in between my toes and in my belly button, which I never did before but sort of enjoyed. I washed my hair with the Don't Formula shampoo and used cream rinse for that just wash shine. I can't seem to find my toothbrush, so I'll pick one up when I go out today. Other than that, I'm in good shape.
The most famous image from Home Alone is little Kevin with his hands on his cheeks, screaming in shock. It's on the poster, the VHS cover, the DVD, it's literally everywhere. But Macaulay Culkin didn't perform it exactly as scripted. In the aftershave scene, he was supposed to put on the cologne, slap his cheeks, pull his hands away, and then scream. Pretty simple choreography. On one take, Macaulay kept his hands glued to his face while screaming. Whether from forgetting the blocking or just instinct, no one's entirely sure. The crew burst out laughing at how funny it looked. Columbus decided to use that take in the final cut, and it then became comedy gold. Number 16. Macaulay Culkin's little brother.
Did anyone order me a plain cheese?
Well, yeah, we did. But if you want any, somebody's gonna have to barf it all up, because it's gone.
Fuller, go easy on the Pepsi.
The bespectacled bedwetting cousin, Fuller McAllister, he of the infamous Pepsi guzzling, was played by Kieran Culkin, Macaulay's real-life younger brother. Kieran was only 7 in Home Alone and charmed in his few scenes he showed up in. "Fuller, go easy on the Pepsi," became a weirdly quotable line for such a minor character. Today, Kieran's well known for his Emmy-winning role in the title Succession, but back then he was just following his big brother onto the set. And here's a fun little detail. During the chaotic dinner scene when Uncle Frank says, "Look what you did, you little jerk," Kieran as Fuller is visible in the corner, looking absolutely stunned. That's because it's an authentic reaction from a kid watching his brother get yelled at on camera. Number 15. The McAllister house was painted in Christmas colors. You ever notice how festive every single frame of the McAllister home looks? Nearly everything in the house set is green, red, gold, or warm toned. And that was 100% intentional. Production designer John Muto and set decorator Eve Colley chose a bold red and green color scheme throughout the interiors. From wallpaper to bedspreads to kitchen counters, everything screamed Christmas. The goal was to subliminally amplify the holiday atmosphere as much as possible. Audiences didn't think about my color palette, but they felt it, Colley said of the saturated holiday hues. And she was right. This movie's look was so iconic that after Home Alone came out in 1990, sales of red and forest green home decor actually spiked in real life. By contrast, scenes that are not in Kevin's house, like the airport or neighbors' homes, use cooler blues and grays. This makes the McAllister residence feel even cozier and even more inviting when we do return to it. It's the kind of subtle design choice that most viewers never consciously notice but absolutely feel while they're watching. That house doesn't just look like Christmas, it feels like Christmas. And apparently, America wanted their own homes to feel the same way. Number 14. Buzz's girlfriend is Woof, and not a girl.
No clothes on anybody. Sickening. Cool, firecrackers. I'll save these for later. Buzz, I'm going through all your private stuff. You better come out and pound me. Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof.
One of the funniest quick gags in Home Alone comes when Kevin finds a photo of Buzz's girlfriend and delivers the immortal line, "Buzz, your girlfriend, woof." But here's the part most people never knew. The girlfriend in the picture wasn't a girl at all. The art director's own son posed dressed up as a girl for that specific snapshot. Director Chris Columbus felt that it would be too mean to mock a real girl's looks on camera, so they deliberately used a boy with goofy makeup to get laughs harmlessly. In an era where teen comedies regularly threw people under the bus for laughs, Home Alone found a way to land the joke without genuinely hurting anybody. Not bad for a movie that also features a child committing assault crimes with household appliances. Number 13, Marv's barefoot nail stunt used prosthetics.
The stepping on the nail was a rubber nail that I could crush, like that. Walking across the bulbs, those were all made of sugar.
One of the most wince-inducing booby traps is when Marv, in his bare feet, steps on a sharp nail halfway up the tar-covered basement stairs. So just how did they film that without sending Daniel Stern to the ER? The actor wore special rubber prosthetic feet over his real feet. If you look really closely, Marv's feet seem a bit Hobbit-like in that shot. Those fake soles protected Stern as he planted his foot on a hidden pad around the nail. It's the kind of practical effect that modern CGI would probably handle differently, but there's something viscerally satisfying about knowing they actually staged it. Daniel Stern really did step on that nail rig, fake feet and all, and sold the absolute agony of it perfectly. Talk about commitment to the bit. Number 12, the tarantula on Marv's face.
There's a tarantula crawling up my face, and there was supposed to be a mechanical tarantula. And so we got to the day of shooting, and I said, where's that mechanical tarantula? Because I saw the box with the big hairy one. And they said, yeah, that didn't work out. Didn't look real. So it's the real tarantula? Did you take the poison stinger out of the real tarantula? They said, well, if we took the stinger out, the tarantula would die eventually.
That giant spider crawling on Marv? Yep, actor Daniel Stern allowed a live tarantula, affectionately named Barry by the crew, to scurry over his face for that scene. Stern was game to do it for real, with a handler standing by, of course, to get an authentic scream. And here's a shocker. Despite decades of rumors that he mimed the scream to avoid scaring the spider, Stern confirmed he absolutely did scream in that moment. They only did one take, of course. You don't ask a tarantula to do a second take. Stern's blood-curdling shriek was dubbed in later at full volume, but it was genuine. Stern has joked that letting a real tarantula crawl on his face was still less insane than working with Joe Pesci, whose commitment to his role and explosive temper was legendary on set. And honestly, that tracks. Number 11, Pesci's family-friendly swearing workaround.
What? 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 What happened?
Known for R-rated mob roles, Joe Pesci had a hard time toning down his language for a PG movie. Chris Columbus kept reminding him that actual F-bombs were a no-no on this set, so Pesci devised a comical substitute. Whenever Harry gets hurt, Pesci spews rapid-fire gibberish, channeling a Looney Tunes-esque Yosemite Sam routine instead of real curse words. It's the kind of creative problem-solving that comes from casting somebody completely wrong for a family movie, but still making it work. Pesci brought genuine menace to Harry while also delivering cartoon villain energy. And honestly, frickin' is more memorable than any actual swear word would have ever been. Number 10, Joe Pesci stayed in character and away from Macaulay. To portray the menacing Harry, actor Joe Pesci took an unusual approach on set. He deliberately avoided young Macaulay Culkin. Pesci barely spoke to Macaulay between takes, hoping the kid would genuinely be a little afraid of him when the cameras were rolling. "I wanted him to think I was mean," Pesci admitted. And it worked. Kevin's wide-eyed terror when Harry snarls, "I'm gonna bite off every one of your little fingers," feels pretty real, and that's in part because Macaulay honestly found Joe Pesci a little bit scary. There is, however, a point where it went a little too far. In that same climax scene, during a rehearsal, Pesci actually bit Macaulay's finger by accident. The 9-year-old screamed for real, and Pesci left a small scar that Macaulay still has decades later. Method acting is one thing. Scarring a child actor is another. But hey, it certainly sold the menace. Every time you watch that scene and feel genuinely worried for Kevin, just remember, Macaulay had very good reason to be terrified of Joe Pesci. Sometimes authenticity comes at a cost. In this case, literally a little bit of skin. Number 9. John Candy filmed his entire cameo in one day.
Tell me, have you ever gone on vacation and left your child home?
No. But I did leave one at a funeral parlor once. Yeah, it was terrible, too. You know, I was all distraught and everything, you know, the wife and I. We left the little tyke there in the funeral parlor all day. All day. You know, we went back at night when we came to our senses, and there he was. Apparently he was there alone all day with a corpse. Now, he was okay, you know, after 6-7 weeks. And I came around, started talking again. But he's okay. You know, they get over it. Kids are resilient like that.
Maybe we shouldn't talk about this.
Well, you brought it up. I was just, trying to cheer you up.
Sorry, I did.
Comedic legend John Candy appears briefly as Polka King of the Midwest, Gus Polinski, but his impact was pretty huge. Candy agreed to a one-day shoot as a favor to John Hughes, who had directed him in Uncle Buck. In that single 23-hour marathon day, Candy improvised most of his hilarious lines, including the darkly funny funeral parlor story he tells Kevin's mom at 4:30 in the morning. And get a load of this. He was paid only $414 for the cameo. That's less than the pizza delivery guy actor made. Director Chris Columbus later revealed Candy was a bit bitter about the token payment, which honestly sounds right. The man worked for almost 24 hours straight and walked away with basically lunch money. It's one of those Hollywood stories that makes you appreciate the talent while also side-eyeing the budget priorities. Number 8. Chris Columbus added the heart with Old Man Marley.
You ever heard of the South Bend Shovel Slayer?
No.
That's him. Back in '58, murdered his whole family and half the people on his block with the snow shovel. Been hiding out in this neighborhood ever since.
Well, if he's a shovel slayer, how come the cops don't arrest him?
Not enough evidence to convict. They never found the bodies. But everyone around here knows he did it.
Surprisingly, the touching subplot of Kevin's elderly neighbor Marley wasn't in John Hughes' original script. Director Chris Columbus felt the story needed more emotional resonance and some Christmas spirit, so he co-wrote the Old Man Marley scenes late in development. Marley's poignant talk with Kevin in the church, revealing he's estranged from his son, and the final reunion where Kevin watches Marley hug his granddaughter, those moments were Columbus's proud additions. In early drafts, Marley was more mysterious and never got that redemption. Columbus's tweak gave the film its warm, sentimental core and probably a few tears from the audience. Columbus just knew that the film needed an emotional anchor, and he gave us one of the most touching Christmas moments in 1990 cinema. Not bad, Columbus, especially for a last-minute addition. Number 7. Poland treats Home Alone like a national Christmas treasure. One of the most surprising global legacies of Home Alone comes from a place that you might not expect: the country of Poland. Since the early 1990s, the film, known there as Heaven Alone at Home, has aired on national television every single Christmas season and has become a massive holiday tradition. We're talking millions of viewers tuning in every year. In fact, various Polish outlets have reported that some airings have drawn ratings of 4 to 5 million households, making it one of the most watched holiday broadcasts in the country. And here's the wild part. In 2010, the Polish network Polsat tried to drop the movie from its Christmas lineup, and fans immediately revolted. A huge public outcry followed. Social media backlash, petitions, angry headlines like "Polsat killed Christmas, there will be no Kevin." The protest was so intense that the broadcaster backed down within days and reinstated the movie, complete with some cheeky promos like, "Christmas without Kevin? Impossible." Ever since, Polsat has never dared to leave Kevin behind. The annual airing of this movie remains a cherished Polish family ritual, as essential to the season as decorating the tree or sharing opłatki. Those are Polish Christmas wafers. Fact number 6. The Bandits could have been very different. Joe Pesci's role as Harry Lime almost went to other stars. In fact, Home Alone first offered the lead burglar part to several actors. Robert De Niro and John Lovitz both turned it down. A slew of names were floated for Harry, from Danny DeVito to Bob Hoskins, all before Pesci signed on. And for Marv, Daniel Stern was the top choice, but he briefly exited during negotiations. The studio cast actor Daniel Roebuck as Marv instead, only to realize after a couple of days that the chemistry with Pesci just simply wasn't there. Roebuck was let go and Stern was wooed back. He admits, "Thank God they came back to me, as it's become one of his most iconic roles." And honestly, Stern and Pesci together created some comedy magic. Their timing, their physicality, their willingness to suffer for the craft, it all totally clicked. Casting is a very delicate alchemy. One wrong choice and the Wet Bandits might have been forgettable instead of legendary. Number 5. Angels with Filthy Souls, the making of Kevin's infamous gangster flick. That black and white gangster movie that Kevin watches, the source of the iconic line, "Keep the change, you filthy animal," wasn't an old Hollywood classic at all. It was created from scratch as a movie within the movie, inspired by 1938's actual movie titled Angels with Dirty Faces. They wrote a short 1930s-style scene, cast the local actor Ralph Foodie as Mobster Johnny, and filmed it in black and white. In fact, it was shot in just one day on the final test day before main filming, using period-accurate lighting to nail that old-time look. The title of the movie, Angels with Filthy Souls, was a last-minute gag, of course. The art director realized that they needed a VHS tape label, so they coined the spoof title as a fedora tip to the Cagney classic. Many viewers were convinced it was a real 1940s film. That's just how well they nailed the aesthetic. Everything from the dialogue, the staging, the lighting, it all screamed authentic noir. Fact number 4. John Williams swooped in to score this film. The now classic Home Alone theme and holiday soundtrack almost didn't happen. Initially, composer Bruce Broughton was hired, but he had to bow out due to a scheduling conflict with another movie, leaving Home Alone without a composer in post-production. But in a stroke of Christmas luck, legendary composer John Williams saw an early cut of the film and totally fell in love. He then unexpectedly offered to compose the score. Director Chris Columbus was stunned. They'd assumed the small family comedy wouldn't attract someone of Williams' caliber. Now, if y'all are anything like me and aren't exactly sure who John Williams is, this is the guy that scored Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and even E.T. And this legend wanted to do a movie about a kid set in booby traps? You're damn right he did. Williams's whimsical and heartwarming score, including the song Somewhere in My Memory, arguably elevated the movie's magic and earned itself an Oscar nomination. It proved that even booby-trap slapstick comedy can soar with a little orchestral gravitas. Fact number 3. A monster furnace was a bit too expensive.
Shut up.
Remember that creepy basement furnace that growls Kevin's name? Originally, the filmmakers envisioned an even wilder scene, a nightmare where the furnace turns into a full-on monster and chases Kevin out of the house. Well, they scrapped that idea when the cost estimate came in at around $1 million for the effect. So instead, they went with the simpler but still spooky and practical effect of the furnace lighting up and roaring. Sometimes budget constraints can bring out some really creative solutions. The subtle terror of a furnace that might be alive is actually creepier than a full monster chase could have ever been. They do say sometimes less is more, and especially true when you're working with a smaller budget. Number 2. Warner Brothers shut down the movie, then Fox saved it. Early on, Home Alone was a Warner Bros. Project, until the studio halted production over budget concerns. Director Chris Columbus needed about $17 million to finish, but Warner capped the budget at $14 million, and then they pulled the plug halfway through filming. Little did they know, writer-producer John Hughes had a backup plan. He'd already courted 20th Century Fox. The very same day Warner dropped it, Fox picked up Home Alone, resumed filming immediately, and ultimately reaped nearly $500 million gross from the hit that WB let get away. Not a great move, Warner Bros. Talk about a costly mistake. Imagine being the executive who killed Home Alone. That's the kind of decision that haunts you at industry parties for the rest of your career. Oh, you're the one who passed on Home Alone? How's that working out for you? And our final twist for this video today is that the McAllister family's cozy interiors weren't shot in the real house at all. The production crew built an entire 2-story set in the gymnasium of a new Trier high school in Illinois. The real Winneteca house was simply too cramped for crew and equipment, so an abandoned school provided the space that they needed. And here's where it gets even weirder. The flooded basement scene, when Kevin flees the wet bandits through a neighbor's cellar, was achieved by constructing a basement set over the school's swimming pool. They could safely flood it because, well, it was already just a pool. Just add some basement walls and props, fill it up, and boom, instant disaster zone. So every time you rewatch Home Alone and marvel at how perfect that house looks, remember, it's because it's not a house. Rather, it's a school gymnasium in Illinois, dressed up to look like the coziest Christmas home in cinema history. And there you have it, nostalgia fans. 20 wild facts about Home Alone that prove the magic behind Kevin McAllister's war on burglars was even crazier than the movie itself. So which one of these facts surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, do us a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps us keep the Christmas spirit alive all year long and keeps you in tune with more of our nostalgic deep dives into classic holiday hits. So until next time, everybody, may your holidays be merry, may your booby traps be safe, and may your spirits stay bright. Oh, and don't forget, keep the change, you filthy animal.